Hi, everybody. My name is Miss Walker. I am one of the sixth grade math teachers at Keeling. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to set up your math notebook. So it's really important that you take the time to set up your notebook properly this summer, because this is going to be the notebook that you use throughout the sixth grade year. Some people like to use more than one notebook. So depending on how large you write, you may want to get two notebooks just at the start of the year. Keep one for the first semester and then keep the second for the second semester. And then if you end up not using it because you didn't run out of space in your first notebook, then you can just keep that second notebook either for another class or just keep it for another school year just so you have it. But the first thing is we would like your notebook to be what's called a composition notebook. So that's where there's no spiral. All of the pages are binded or sewn in to the particular spine. There's no perforated edges, again, no spirals, because this notebook, we're going to put other things inside of it aside from just like using the pages. We're going to tape certain things into it. So it's going to take it's going to have a lot of things in it. So it needs to be pretty sturdy. It's also going to be something we reference probably almost every single day in your class. So it needs to be able to kind of like go in your backpack, come out of your backpack, and it ends up kind of being like your textbook because, in today's world, we don't really use a textbook, but this is going to be where all of our examples and things are going to be referenced. So it needs to be able to kind of withstand an entire school year, if not a whole semester. So we want you to get a composition notebook. This one is kind of cute. It has like a pattern on it. It could be cute if you want. You could just get one of the basic composition notebooks that's like a certain color or that's black. And then it has the spot in the center that says composition notebook and it has a couple blanks. That's perfectly fine. So the first thing we want you to do when you get your notebook is we want you to put your name kind of all over it in as many spaces as possible. So that way, if for some reason it is left in the classroom, if another teacher finds it, we are able to get it back to the proper person because you don't want to lose this notebook. It's going to be very valuable to you in our course. So I decided to put my name here on the spine because mine has kind of this colorful spine. If yours doesn't and you want something like this, you can use masking tape. You can use tape to kind of create a colorful spine and then write your name along it with a Sharpie. If you have the blanks here in the center, you could just put your name here in the center. Please make sure you're putting your name. Don't put my name. Some people put my name and I'm like, no, what if I'm not your teacher? You don't want to do that. We want to make sure it's your notebook. We know that it's yours. I would put your first and last name. So it's easy to identify whose notebook it is. I would also, there's a couple other places you can put your name. I think the inside cover is always a good spot to put your name. I've seen people kind of turn the notebook this way and they write their name kind of along the binding here or the binding here at the top. It's kind of up to you, but I would put your name in at least two spots because I can't tell you how many times I have found a notebook in my classroom and I can't figure out whose it is because there's no name on it anywhere. So please make sure you put your name in at least 2 to 3 different spots in your notebook. Maybe the backside cover, that might be a good place too. So that way, if it gets lost, we can return it to its rightful owner. Now, the next 2 things I'm going to tell you about with your notebook are optional. You don't have to do this, but a lot of students who do this tend to find them helpful. So the first is you can create an inside pocket in the front cover of your notebook and even the back cover too, if you want to put it in the back cover. But basically just a little baby pocket where you can slide kind of smaller pieces of paper, or if you get something like a sticky note or something that you want to keep for later, like just something that can keep little pieces of paper here. I created the pocket just using like a piece of construction paper, and then I stapled and I taped it along the side. I find staples to keep it more sturdy because tape tends to peel off over time, especially if you're pulling it and like putting stuff in it. Again, this is totally optional. We're definitely going to recommend that you have like a regular accordion folder or a full-size folder to keep, the larger handouts. Some handouts we tape into our notebook, but having a little pocket here might be helpful to you. The other thing we're going to recommend is you have some sort of bookmark. So I'm just using my Taylor Swift Eras Tour ticket thing that I got in a VIP box when I went to the Taylor Swift concert. But this bookmark can help, mark like the next blank page in your notebook. So when you get out your notebook and your teacher's like, okay, turn to the next open page, you have a bookmark there to boom, open it up. Or like, let's say you're practicing math or you're studying for a quiz or your homework is on like fraction, addition or something like that. You can keep your bookmark on that page. So later on, you can like quickly open it and reference it. And then if you're not using your bookmark, you could put it in your pocket folder here that you created. So that way it's out of the way. Again, totally optional, but students have found this to be helpful. You can make a bookmark out of like construction paper. You can purchase one if you want. You can ask maybe your reading teachers if they have any bookmarks they can lend you, but having a bookmark might be helpful. So those two things are optional, the bookmark and the folder. Here's what is required. So we're going to kind of get into the actual setup of your notebook now. So once your name is kind of on every single spot you can think of, we want to make sure you put a title page. So the title page, it doesn't have to say 6th Magnet Math. You definitely want to include that you are in 6th grade. You definitely want to include either that you are at Keeling or that you are in the Magnet program. And you definitely want to include that this is your math notebook. So that way, if some other teacher in the school finds it, they can bring it to the proper teachers in 6th grade to kind of help identify whose it's supposed to be. I would put the current school year that we are going into. So if you're watching this video and if it's a different school year, make sure you put the right school year. But for the one for this video, 2023, 2024 is the school year we're going into. Once you know who your teacher is and once you know what class period you have your math class, you could put, your class period like A1 and then whoever your teacher's name is too, if you want to do that. But for the time being, make sure you include that you're in 6th grade, you are in a Magnet Math class, and that it is your math notebook. So indicate that. Once you do that, the next 2 pages are going to be your table of contents. So I'm going to kind of cover up this part here. So the main thing you need to just put right now is that it's your table of contents. And then you can start numbering in the margins. This is going to be your page number. So like on page 1, it's going to be this, page 2, it's going to be whatever. You don't have to number it entirely. Maybe you could do like the first like 10 pages because you'll need about 10 to 12 pages during your summer assignments, and you're actually going to do your summer assignments or start doing your summer assignments in this notebook. So you could maybe number it 1 through 10 or 1 through 15 or something like that, just so that way it's set up and good. I would do this for 2 pages. I wouldn't number the second page of the table of contents just because you don't know where you're going to stop. Some people like to use both sides of the page for their table of contents. Some people only like to use one side. That's kind of a personal preference. So I wouldn't start numbering the table of this page. I would just kind of number the first page if you are going to start numbering, and then leave the second one blank except for the title. I would do 2 pages because sometimes people use more than 1 page, or if you don't want to write on the back side of the page, you will definitely need a second page. If you have really large handwriting or like to use a lot of space, you might even want to add a 3rd page of table of contents, but 2 pages tends to be enough for most people. The other thing you want to consider is some people end up using their notebook the entire school year. Some people decide at the semester that they want to get a new notebook because they're almost done with the notebook. So just having 2 pages of table of contents is a pretty good plan. And you'll notice that we're just going to label the page. You don't have to do this right now because you don't know your lessons yet. This is just an example, but you'll put the page number and then this will be like whatever the lesson is. So one of the first things you'll do this summer is you'll practice like converting mixed and improper fractions. So you would put like the name of the assignment or the name of the lesson up here. That's kind of how the table of contents is going to work. Some people like to put the date. You could put the date when you do this if you want, but that's not necessary. So name of the lesson is all you're going to include in your table of contents. Once you have 2 pages of table of contents, on the very next blank page, I want you to start numbering the pages, and you can put them in any corner you want. I would suggest doing one of the top corners because sometimes, your notes tend to go kind of long and you might need the bottom corner of a page. So I would do it just in the top right-hand corner. That would be what I suggest. You don't have to put a circle around the number. That's up to you. I just do it to designate that, hey, this is a page number versus this is a number I need for my notes. And I would number all sides of the page. So both sides. So like this is page number 1. Then I have page number 2, page number 3, page number 4, page number 5, and so forth. I would take the time right now to number your entire notebook. Even if you end up not using the entire notebook and you end up like getting a second notebook for the semester, I would just number it all right now. So that way you don't have to worry about doing that later. So number your notebook from the next blank page after your table of contents on both sides, starting with number 1. Okay, and at this point, your notebook is completely set up and ready to go for the summer assignments and for the school year. You'll take this notebook, you'll do your summer assignments in it, and then you need to hold on to it because it's going to be the same notebook that you use starting the school year. And then that's nice because you already have your notebook set up ready to go for math, and your teacher doesn't have to spend a whole lot of time setting that up in class. So I'm going to show you now kind of how the notebook is going to be formatted. So that way, when you start doing your summer assignments, you can see how you can input your summer assignment work into your math notebook. So when we have our pages in our math notebook, okay, so let's say we're assigned a lesson, we are going to, find the next open page in our notes. So let's say it's I'm just going to use page 3. I'm going to title it with whatever the title of the lesson is, whether that's, the title that the teacher tells me in class, the title of the video I'm about to watch on YouTube, whatever the case may be, title the page. And then I'm going to keep track of the page. So page 3. And then in my table of contents for page 3, I'm going to write down the title of the lesson here as well. So that way, if I'm trying to reference, where can I find a video on integer addition? I can say, oh, it's on page 3 of my notebook. Let me go find page 3. And boom, it's there. It's easy to find. After you title whatever your notes are, your notes are always going to be taken on the left-hand side. We want this side of the page or this side of your notebook to be where your notes are located, because when you're kind of quickly flipping through and trying to reference them, a lot of times we're looking at this side of the notebook. So this is where we're going to have all of your examples and all of your notes. You don't need to write notes page. I'm just explaining to you that this page is always going to be for where we put notes and examples. The back side or the right side, the left side of the page, this is going to be where you put practice questions. So during the school year, your teacher might do a lesson with you in class and you'll write notes, and then they'll give you 1 or 2 practice questions to practice quickly before you either jump into an activity, an assignment in blend, a project, and you're going to always put your practice questions on the left-hand side of the page. So that way, when you're looking at the lesson, you could see, okay, here are the notes, here are the practice examples we did, here, and then here are the practice questions that I did on my own, or maybe I did with my table, versus the ones that I did in class, like with my teacher. So for your summer assignments, what's going to happen is there are some lessons where you will be required to take notes. There's 1 to maybe 2 lessons where you don't have to take notes. So those pages you can either leave blank and skip, or you could just put like no notes needed for this lesson. Like you can just write that on this page. And then your summer assignments, we want you to do on this side of the page, because they are essentially your practice questions. Now, most of the summer assignments are going to be things that hopefully you have already learned about in your previous math classes, but they are your summer assignments and they are also like your practice. So we want you to do your work and put your answers on the left-hand side of your notebook for your particular summer assignment. Some of y'all may print out the summer assignments. Like you may want to print them out and just do them on like a piece of printer paper because they're a PDF. That's fine. If you decide to do that, my suggestion is to fold that piece of paper in half that you printed that has like your summer assignment work on it, and then to just tape it into your notebook on the practice page. So let's say the lesson is on integer subtraction. You take the notes on integer subtraction here, you have the assignment printed out, you can print it and tape it right here in your notebook, so that way it is there to reference. It's also there for your teacher to check later when they check your summer assignments. I would just print it and tape it. In some of the notes videos that you were going to watch, they are going to give you practice questions at the end. You can do those practice questions on this page, but keep in mind, because you will have a summer assignment, your summer assignment is also going to have to go on this page. So you can like set up 2 different sections for like, these are the video practice questions from the notes. These are my summer assignment questions. Or you could skip the practice questions from the video altogether and purely just do the summer assignment. Okay. It's kind of up to you. If you think you want the extra practice from the video questions, go for it. If you just want to do the summer assignment, then just do the summer assignment. Now, during the school year, you will have to take your notes and you will have to do practice questions on this side. There's no kind of like optional practice questions unless your teacher decides to make it optional. Okay, so this is just kind of the way we're going to format. So this summer, when you're working on summer assignments, notes are always going to be on the left-hand side. Your summer assignment questions are going to be on the left-hand side. I think I said right, left-hand side over here. Sorry, your notes are going to be on the right-hand side. Your practice questions or your summer assignments are always going to be here on the left-hand side. So your summer assignment is always going to be here on the left-hand side. Now, if some of your lessons have like multiple notes, so like in one section, you have to do like integer addition and then integer subtraction, but there's only one summer assignment, you can pick which page you want to do your summer assignment on. You could like do it on the first page of the notes or the second page of the notes. That's kind of up to you. I try to indicate as much information as possible in the summer assignments, but this is essentially how you set up your notebook. So it is ready to go for your summer assignments as well as ready to go for the school year. We are so excited that you are joining us at our school. We are excited to see you in the fall. We hope you have a great summer, and we'll see you soon.